Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to the review. There's another paid request, this time for Jacob. Thank you so much for that. And for those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, commentaries, reviews, whatever it may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for a film called Run and Kill from 1993. It's one of those Category 3 Hong Kong films, which means only 18 plus can watch it. Apparently a lot of them are much more nasty things. This one, for the most part, isn't, except for one scene, which I think is that one scene alone that caused it. This was an experience. That's the best way for me to put it. It was interesting that your lead character was this overweight guy. I think he worked with Jackie Chan on Crime Story, from what I remember. I forget the actor's name, but the character at times is literally called Fatty, and he's called, these names, and he seems like a decent guy. Meaning, he loves his wife, he plays with his daughter, he's goofy, he's silly, making breakfast, eating breakfast with his daughter, goes off. He's not perfect, but he tries his best. He comes back home, he finds out that his wife is cheating on him. And then, it seems to be a bit comedic, and, he's pissed off about it, so he gets piss drunk. I mean, ready for the tub thumping to play in the background. He gets that much drunk. I did not down, but I did up again. You now don't keep me down. Pissing the night away. I did a whiskey drink. I did a vodka drink. I did a liquor drink. I did a pussy drink. And then because he gets so pissed drunk, he's talking to a guy. He's talking about, he's complaining about his wife, understandably so. And the guy's kind of pushed, yeah, you probably want to get rid of her. yeah, maybe. And I still feel bad for the guy because he's being taken advantage of this guy. And the guy's like ready to pass out in an alleyway. And this guy he agrees to it and takes his wallet and his picture. He wakes up, he doesn't remember what happened last night, comes home. And soon after, hitmen come and kill the wife and kill the lover. And then they want their money. And our lead doesn't even get what's going on. So he's kind of accidentally been pushed into putting a hit on his wife. But it was more like he was pissed drunk and taken advantage of. And then that's when the movie goes even more crazy. And it's definitely not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Now, other people in the film, you have Danny Lee. Well, I don't know, for some reason I thought he passed away, but I guess he thankfully didn't. Danny Lee, I remember from Inframan. I grew up with Inframan. He was also he was the police officer in The Killer that joined Chow Yun-fat. It's not pronounced that well. When movie trailers came out, they pronounced it that. It's easier for me to say, so I'm going to say Chow Yun-fat. But yeah, Danny Lee was a cop teaming up with him in The Killer, which is a good movie. And in Inframan of Growth, he was the lead in that. He plays a cop, but he's very useless in this movie. Very useless. He has nothing to do. Such a waste of Danny Lee. He's pretty much there just stand around and be behind the times and playing catch up. Again, he's not involved in any action scenes, not involved in anything really. He's just completely pointless, useless. Simon Yam, who I remember he would be the villain in the Jean-Claude Van Damme film Wake of Death. He's been in a lot of other stuff too, but that's the film I remember more because I'm a big Van Damme fan. He's in this as an absolute psycho. PTSD from the war, sociopath, and he does some absolutely 100% vile things in this. I mean, vile. And the film itself, I mean, the only way I could see it, it wasn't a cleaned up copy of the film. I could imagine this film looking good, cleaned up. But even then, you do tell the director, there's some decent atmosphere look to the film. Movie theaters are hazy and smoky, and some bits with the lighting. You tell that it's capably directed, good looking film, even if it's in its rough quality. Like I said, the lead is interesting to have this guy, because other than Sammo Hung, you didn't have a lot of overweight guys as the lead in a movie. So it made things a bit interesting. And again, this guy who just has the absolute worst luck possible. That's really the best way to put this lead character. The worst luck anyone has, this guy has it. And I do feel a lot of sympathy for him, and I thought he performed his role well. And it takes some twists you don't see coming. I'll say that. You think it's going this way, but then it goes this way. Oh, okay, that made it interesting. It's just not sunshine and roses type of film. I get into spoilers. And like I said, it's violent. Well, until the one scene happens, which I'll get to that, it's not as violent as like a lot of other movies. I mean, there's style, like when the wife gets killed, the guy like through the knife is stuck to the wall. He grabs her, puts her neck to the thing, cuts her throat. But you see blood drip, and by that point, our lead character been knocked down. The blood drips onto his face. So it's that idea that makes it, like it's not gory. It's just the idea that the wife's blood dripped onto your lead character's face as he's knocked out. Like decisions like that. But I mean, I've seen John Woo films more violent than this film. I did up to one scene. There's a reason why I keep leading up to that. But I'm just saying, for what I understand with other Category 3 movies, if you're expecting like a gory... Like this one I reviewed called The Untold Story, that's a lot more violent than this. It was like cannibalism, things of that nature. And that's a pretty disturbing film. So if you're expecting like a wall-to-wall gore fest, it's not that, and you may be disappointed in it. Now, getting the spoilers, he gets his daughter to safety. He doesn't have the money for it. I thought this was kind of a random transition, because I didn't know for a while where the hell he was. But he was like, he went to like mainland China. And I still a bit confused as to how, okay, he got there, why did he go to that specific place? And then, like, one thing led to another, and he's with this other gang. And I'm still trying to fathom how he gets the gang to agree to this. Pretty much he tells his gang about his troubles, and the gang decides to help. And I can't remember if the lead offered money, if he offered something else, or if the Simon Yam's brother was just had a moral. I don't remember, because it was a bit hazy to me, because I was still confused. Like, oh wait, okay, this is where we're at, and now who's this other gang? And that's what I meant by going a different direction, because I thought it would be, okay, now he's got to deal with these hitmen who want their money, and they're gonna be after him, they're gonna be chasing him, and he's got to deal with those guys. Not really. Again, he goes with this gang, and someone can explain like why the gang helps him. Because then involves this movie theater scene. And the gang he gets help, Simon Yam isn't there. If he was, then things would have been different, but he's not. And just the brother, he's just much more of a decent guy. He just wanted help. Tries to help our lead character, but they get their asses kicked in this movie theater with some, decent fisticuffs, some decent style. Like you see behind a screen, people stabbing and blood hit the screen. And the Simon Yam's brother gets tied up, and they're punching holes in him, and they're dripping blood, and the guy's like drinking the blood. Until ultimately Simon Yam realizes what's going on, goes in and goes haywire on these motherfuckers with an AK-47 to save his brother. And like Simon Yam, he does a hell of a performance because you fucking one of the most vile characters. Like you just hate this character because he's doing a good job. Simon Yam did that. It's like, yeah, cast that guy to be a villain in a Van Damme movie, yes. Just a fucking sociopath. Tearing up with an AK-47, gets the lead guy to get his brother down. They go off. Now, this is more spoilers. Last time I'm going to say it, super spoilers. Starting now. The brother dies, and then Simon Yam is pissed, and he wants revenge. And that's what I'm talking about again. You think it's going this one direction where now he's got to deal with these guys he owes money to. No, it's this other direction of this gain, and now it's Simon Yam, and again, this post-traumatic war vet who's insane and a fucking sociopath. And is going to vow revenge on our lead character. Like I said, I wish Danny Lee was more involved because I liked him, because I liked Inframan, the killer. I wish he had more to do. He really has nothing to do. Pretty much our lead goes to Danny Lee and the cops. And then by that point, Simon Yam found out where his daughter and this other woman is at. Saying he wants the lead character, wants Fatty. Fatty, go Fatty. 4x4 out the fridge door. One thing leads to another. Cops screw up. Bad guys get our lead. And then you get to the scene. And this is pretty much going to our third act. And this is when I'm like, okay, this is an experience. I would say this. If you like exploitation, crazy movies, stop watching the review. Go watch the film, then come back to me and your thoughts on it. The villain has our hero and the little girl tied up, and you think it's going to go one way. Instead, he burns the girl up. Burns her up. She's tied up. This is like, I don't know, 9-year-old girl. Ties her up, she gets burned the fuck up. While the father's tied up and watches. Good acting on the guy's face. Pretty decent score as well. Kind of a synthesizer type of score. So I thought the score was pretty decent. Now, to me, I went, oh, shit. Now, you also have to remember, I've seen, and I don't like these films, I've seen a Serbian film. Which I think this film's much better than a Serbian film. Because I think it's a better told and better story. A Serbian film had a guy fuck a newborn baby. Because he's going to make newborn porn. And that's, I mean, I've seen gutter balls. Where I guess you call a gay guy, or no, like a transgender guy got killed, and then the killer decide for shits and giggles to take his penis out, cut it down like a hot dog bun, just because for shock value, and then someone gets a bowling pin shoved up their ass or something, or no, it was a woman gets a bowling pin shoved up her cooter. I've seen, I mean, when you've seen that, it's like, This, I will say, at least in this, it's directed enough where you get the idea, but it's not like 5 minutes of her burn up and you see the flesh burn. No, it's not that. It's, I think if you're going to do this, it's done effectively enough, but not exploitive. Idea what I mean by that is, it's not like the little girl is there and then they put a girl in trouble and then you see her face melt. No, it's not that. It's just, it's the fire's coming towards. It's more of the expression of our lead character's face, and the little girl screams, and then of course they cut to a wide shot with body jumping around, which is like a dummy, of course, on fire. If you don't do that, that's the effective way to do it. It does make it feel more disturbing because of that, as it should be, and it's effective. And if you didn't hate Simon Yam then, you hate him now. I mean, it's like in Rambo 4. That's what I could do. It's like Rambo 4. Remember Rambo 4 with the bad guy? The bad guys, they're fucking stabbing kids and throwing them in fires. Same thing here. Like, really make you hate the bad guys. And then it's just, after a while, it's a charred remain. And the bad guy picks the charred remain and places right in front of the lead character. Whether it leads to not, the lead character freaks out, breaks, picks up his daughter's charred remains because I guess he's crazy now. He runs off. He accidentally breaks the fucking head off. I will admit, I went like, if you want to talk black comedy, and then he doesn't realize it, and then he's horrified, and that's when he gets really pissed. Now, I will say one thing I wish the film did. It's one of those things where the bad guy, Simon Yam, he's crazy. The other's like, we gotta get the fuck out of here. He's like, no, I want him. I'm not leaving until he's dead. And he's shooting his own men. I wish you had the lead guy kill some of those guys. He's angry, he's pissed off. He hasn't killed anyone. He doesn't know how it is. But then he kills this guy, leading up to fighting Simon Yam. I wish they added that in there. Like, have the guy kill some of the subordinates. Don't have just Simon Yam kill them all himself, because he's crazy. Like, let the lead guy do some of that. But I guess if they did that, it would take away the power of, this is a nice, kind guy. He's finally going to kill, and the guy he's going to kill is the guy who deserves it the most. So maybe they figure if he kills these others, it would suppress that power of that notion. And man, the lead is like pouring sweat. I mean, fucking sweat. Sweating to the oldies. I mean, Richard Simmons would be proud. Just sweating. And you get this pretty long battle in this factory. Where he's not a fighter, he's not a martial artist, he's not a marksman. So he gets wounded, he gets shot, but he's like pushing the Simon Yam around. He slams a door in his face, and glass gets into Simon Yam's face. He's beating the guy up, a fire extinguisher. He pushes Simon, who gets impaled a bit. Which seems, and that's the thing, like Simon Yam becomes the Terminator. Like no matter, even if he gets impaled, it feels like it did nothing to him. He just keeps being the Terminator non-stop. There's like an explosion, and Simon Yam gets back up, and the lead has his face. Ultimately has this fuel tank thing, blows it up, keeps repeating, and you burn in hell, you bastard, burn in hell, burn in hell. Until ultimately Simon Yam, you think he's going to get up again, goes back down, burns up. Cops find him. This girl, I forgot there's this one lady who befriends him. And Danny Lee is there. And you tell the lead character's out of it. Yeah, they call for an ambulance. I think his last line is like, "That bastard's dead." Like, that's his old frame of mind now. And I mean, who knows what will happen to this guy? Mental institution, I don't know. But, like I said, it definitely plays a fairly oh shit finale. Like I say, if you're expecting a John Woo film, if you're expecting a Hong Kong martial arts film, if you're expecting Death Wish type of film when he gets his revenge, this is not that movie. Like I said, I get the notion why they did it, but just personal preference was I would have preferred, if not kill, at least like maim or fuck up these guys, these other guys. If it's not, if you don't leave him killing someone for Simon Yam, fine. But have him like he beats this guy up and smashes his face in, or breaks this guy's arm, or uses his body weight to break this guy's legs, and you see the leg crack in half. At least maybe something like that. Stab a guy in the shoulder. This bloody pulp. And then you see him now with his sweat covered in blood, and then goes after some. I would have preferred more of that type of stuff for the finale. Like, I wish Danny Lee had more to do. Even if it's just like Danny Lee gets there and some of the hitmen are still alive after Simon Yam killed a bunch and they left. There's a call, the cops come, and Danny Lee kills some of them or kills the rest of them and wants to find out what's going on. Or maybe like Danny Lee comes and he fights some of the bad guys, and but he, of course, like something like that, like a little bit more. But that's not the movie I wanted to tell. I just thought it was a waste of Danny Lee. I like the guy. But yeah, you want to see a guy have just the worst of luck, pretty ballsy scene to really make you hate the villain, a crazed psychopath performed by Simon Yam, and a finale that was, like I said, an interesting experience. Run and Kill. What was that other movie I reviewed not too long ago? It was for Yule. I forget what it was called. Oh, God. Naked Weapon or something? It was called like Naked Weapon or something. This I thought was better than that. I don't know. Murder Weapon, Naked Weapon, something. I forget what the fuck it was called. Shows how much I remember that movie. I didn't like that film. This I thought was more interesting. I thought it was more of a better story. The cast I thought worked better. And the finale was a bit more interesting, to say the least. So, Run and Kill I would say was better than that movie. The movie I can't remember the title of. It was one where the woman, her fiance dies, she gets attacked, and then she has this training scene with this gay guy on how to kick people in the balls. I'm not kidding. So then they use an egg, and she's like, this one of the goofiest training montages I've ever seen. This is how you gotta get their G-spot. If you kick someone in their G-spot, they die. I like this movie more than that one. So, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, it definitely, like I said, it makes you want to watch. I mean, when you watch this film, I'll say it makes you want to watch a comedy afterward just to relax. Fuck. But, yeah, Simon Yam and the lead guy I thought did a good job. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.